So it's a great opportunity to be able to correct people, especially when you get to that whole where's the edge thing. One thing I consciously think about this all the time. Not only with the weather, obviously to be indoors, it's kind of like sketchy ground because people can play the "this is private property" clause, and if you really want to fight it, they don't really have a dog in the fight with their own private property type of thing. But you can play politics and leave like a sporting event, or when I go to the Vikings game inside the stadiums, they could technically kick me out, but if I want to fight for it, I could. But the venues that I have flourished at, because I have a great cast of people, the public coming up to me, is the park and universities. And I hear a lot of really positive feedback regarding the lake interactions, setting up the table, kind of like this, and just having, interactions with the public and more of a teaching aspect of it. It's definitely more low-key. Probably a lot of you out there would find that pretty enjoyable. I mean, it's 85 degrees out and sunny. Set up a table by the lake, have some water available, and hang out for a couple of hours. What would you have been doing otherwise? Right? If you go to the lake, would you not just sit around at the lake? So why not make it 2 or 3 hours on a weekend when you have time? Because I understand people have jobs and family and other life goals that they want to keep. And for some, like myself, Flat Earth is just like, I got nothing to lose. Like, I literally have nothing else to lose. So I might as well just commit myself to this. And with the university conversations, it's really whether you are a believer in the Bible or not, it does have stories. And there's a man in the New Testament called Jesus, and he goes to where these people are being taught these doctrines and these laws. So how is that any different than going to a university? Go to the university, have bold confidence to talk to these students. Because again, like I had talked about at the beginning, when I was playing Texas Hold'em, I believed no matter what, I helped. Pocket aces or a 7-2 offsuit, I had a winning hand every single time. Right? And sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. Sometimes you fold and you wait for the flop, and then it's like, oh, I could have had a straight, right? But you have the winning hand every single time you talk about Flat Earth. Every single time. And if all you got to defer to is water lane level and flat but contained, then do it. You set up a spirit level here, and you set up a spirit level for a mile. From point A to point B, it's going to be level and flat and even. And that's it. That's all we have to hang our hat on. And we can go on all these other tangents about seeing too far or whatever, but water is it. We have a winning hand every single time. So if anything, I would encourage you to just make yourself vulnerable once a month on a weekend. Get 2 or 3 people together, or by yourself if you're up to it. But 2 or 3 people together, set up a table at a lake, or go to a university. Even just this last Friday, I took these cards that I have. Thank Dave Gessner from Flat Earth 101. He sent me these. And just this last Friday, I didn't even talk to anybody. All I did was went around the University of Minnesota and just spammed these everywhere. Put them on bulletin boards, put them on cafeteria tables, just canvass the whole area for like 90 minutes and just share Flat Earth propaganda, right? And you don't have to talk to anybody. I mean, anybody can do that, right? And just drop things off. So just some different ways that you can go out and be active. Because if your intent is to go out there and honestly share this news, then it's not going to return void. Yeah, you're not going to know whether they looked into it or not or anything like that, but that's not the point. You're responsible for the knowledge that you have right now. And if you hold that, you bury it in the ground in the back of your house, then what do you have? You have all this wisdom and you don't share it with anybody. And so I feel like that helps and allows people to have more compassion. The idea of, I have this information, I want you to be where I'm at. I don't want to have this level where I'm more spiritually in tune with God than you just because I know the earth is flat. Don't we all want to be on that same level playing? Then we'll worry about all the stuff that we disagree with later. But as human beings, I feel it's our God-given right to know where we live. And if people are withholding that from us, then we need to start our own little science club and go do our own experiments. And anybody who wants to join in, they come over. And sooner or later, homeschooling and taking our children out of these public schools within, the next couple of years, I hope, is a huge win. Turning our income into a one-income family is huge right now. This country runs on a two-income family right now, sometimes three. Sometimes the husband's working 2 jobs and the wife is working 1, and they send their child off to public school. They're not even spending any time with their children because they're working so much. So that would be the best way in the future, like for me, to kind of like go from activism to some of my things that I feel like would help allow this thought to permeate more so. Because a lot of people do want to know, well, why would they lie? Why would they lie? And that's great, but we need to get to the foundation of they're lying. They're being dishonest with us. They're misleading people. And even if teachers don't know the earth is flat, they believe the earth is a wall, they're being misled themselves because they're not investigating their own claims and what they're teaching in school. I do comprehend the overwhelming feeling that we want to see results. I get it. Yeah, I want to see this whole entire place full with flat earthers. But then what do we do, right? Then where do we go from there? What if we're just the front lines of this to help the future generations to know that we're not gonna just roll over anymore and allow this to continually perpetuate, and now I'm forced to live in this reality. You know what I'm saying? Now I have to be forced to live in their reality that they created, and I don't want to live in this anymore. So, I guess my point is that we're going to have to comprehend that a lot of us here in this room might not see the whole flat earth thing come to fruition. And how many times has this idea of flat earth and globe earth been a conversation over the last couple hundred years? I mean, really, as humanity, how many times are we going to argue about the observations of ships disappearing over the horizon, right? I mean, it's just, it's such a interesting, if you think about it in math, I mean, it's such an interesting way to perceive it, where they created this idea through math that's exactly where the curvature of the earth starts, but then that's where our limitations of our eyes are. So they've had a lot of time to work on this. So is this their last push with the globe earth? Or are we a new resurgence that's always been? And we just have to keep pressing in even more to make sure that this doesn't go away. And that this is the last time that we ever have to talk about globe earth versus flat earth. I mean, really, this has to be the last time. This generation growing up right now, people who were born 2000 up until now, they are all going to hear about these group of people who were flat earthers. They will hear about it, and they will have to decide whether or not they want to continue that or believe authority and trust the experts. I'm kind of in this progressive thought type of thing right now, where I've been in the game with flat earth for about 4 years or so, and so my thought has progressed further than what a lot of people who are just now getting into flat earth right now, which is great because you're brand new. I mean, you're open to all these new topics. But one thing I want to help to try to instill in you is stop being afraid to fail. Stop being afraid to put yourself out there and be vulnerable and be afraid of your own success. And be the movie star in your own life. And everybody else is a cast of characters. I'm a cast of character in your life as much as you are in mine. But as we continue to move forward, we're all going to meet that same ending point. And that's where this place decides whether it wants truth or it doesn't anymore. And trying to have like some responsibility to our Creator in our own time when we're alone. Ask Him, pray, find out what your role is here, not just in this commonwealth of flat earth, but also as a whole in the collective consciousness of human beings and how we communicate with each other. Lowering your anger, building up a lot of patience. That's the biggest compliment that I get, is my patience with people and really just allowing them to just speak freely. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, people say, oh, you're such a great listener. It's like, I didn't say anything. You know, like, you're such a great conversationalist. Well, you did most of the talking. You know, so if you allow people who are new to flat earth or open-minded to it, globe agnostic, globe denialist, or whatever, allow them to just continue to speak. Hear what they have to say, because you'll be surprised if you learn a lot from new people coming into this, because they have a different kind of perspective. One thing I think a lot about is like exploration, and what are we going to do about the possibility of more continents that are out there that are being withheld from us, more land, more opportunities. I wonder if this, you know, it's a mainstream idea, but you can follow me here. The idea of like Christopher Columbus and getting everybody all jazzed up to go to another continent, or, you know, whatever that was all about. There was a time that's, you know, described in our history that shows that they left this land and all of a sudden arrived at new land, right? Discovered land. Well, what does that look like for us in the next 20 years? You know, this whole idea of flat earth has only been around for 5 years mainstream right now, and obviously other people would attest to it being out longer, but let's just even take it for what it's worth, 5 years. You know, what kind of observations, exploration, proofs are we going to be able to get, I speak as a flat earther, that would prove anything to any scientist or global believer when they're already in some kind of a sect themselves, if you will. They all have this idea that everything on Earth has already been mapped out, it's all been discovered, and there's nothing else to discover anymore. And I don't agree with that, personally. I feel like there is more land, or they're withholding more land from us, and it probably goes into some of what Rob Skiba is going to talk about later, is this idea of another civilization. You know, and priming us for something that's going to happen in the future. And whatever that looks like, I mean, I don't know. But it is something that needs to be at least talked about and put on the table. If there are ancient civilizations, why are we the ones that are being groomed? You know, what makes us so special? Like, why do these people need to be worshipped? You know, what is it about them that makes them feel superior to myself, for example? You know? Right? Exactly. Where do we go? Where do we go? Who wants to go to the North Pole? Okay. Antarctica. Antarctica, okay.
No.
I'm dead set on going to the North Pole. Yeah. I want to see Satan Claus in his garb, and the alleged Tower of Babel, you know, or some giant tree that's up in the North Pole or whatever. But regardless of all the different stories of Mount Meru and Antarctica, ice wall and stuff like that, we need to, I feel like it would be in our best interest to put our monies together. This takes money. I mean, let's be real here. It costs money to get here, right? And to spend time with everybody. So as much as people might want to, withhold their earnings from other flat earthers or other people who are creating content or whatever, use your monies to then say, okay, if there is an expedition, if you will, to Antarctica or the North Pole, how much is it going to cost? And I kind of looked into it, and I really think it might be like $1 billion to do something like that. By mainstream, if we want to be taken seriously, we're going to have to spend a lot of money to get, to get what we feel we need to share with the rest of the general public. So I'm going to share this this quote here, and I've been looking into this this guy, John Taylor Gatto, dumbing us down. He talks a lot about schooling, and he leaves us with this quote: "Whatever an education is, it should make you a unique individual, not a conformist. It should furnish you with an original spirit with which to tackle the big challenges. It should allow you to find values which will be your roadmap through life. It should make you spiritually rich, a person who loves whatever you are doing, wherever you are, whomever you are with. And it should teach you what is important, how to live, and how to die." How many people feel the public education system does any of those right now? Right? So I just leave you with that. Be yourself when you go out into this grand new yonder called Earth, and share what you know. Don't hide it away. Don't bury it in the sand. You have talents that you need to share with everybody else. Thanks a lot, everybody, for the opportunity.
Joshua, authentic intent. If you don't know me, I'm the 5-second ending of the Logan Paul movie. I'm just Jack, and me and Karen and Andrew would like to thank you for coming out. We're getting ready to break for dinner. I know none of you are hungry, but we're going to get rid of you anyway. So as soon as we dismiss, please leave in an orderly fashion, only knocking over people larger than you, and we'll be returning in about an hour and a half.
One big one is going to play at 6, so remember, 5
Thank you.
10 minutes talking about it.